Hello. So here we are on the second meeting of our Tensegrity Assisted Therapy Study Group that we held one each month. We try to do these, we will do it in English so that other people, non-Portuguese speaking can participate if they want. And all these meetings will be recorded and put it on a YouTube channel that is public. So anyone can watch these meetings afterwards. And today we have Miguel and Teresa. I think, well, I'm sure Miguel was already here next the previous meeting, but Teresa is the first time. Do you want to say something about yourself, something short?
Okay. I'm Teresa. Now I'm living in Germany and I work with movement. Before I was introducing myself like I'm a Pilates teacher, but now that's not enough for me because I work with Nuno, I think for six years already. And this is a continue and progressing path that we are doing, and we are always looking for the bodies moving. Of course, we have the Pilates method to understand and to guide us, but we are always trying to read in between the lines. And now I consider myself I don't know, maybe a movement therapist or something. And this is a wonderful journey. And with this course and with this way to look to the bodies in movement, this is how can I say this? It's very, it's a freedom for me. Represents a freedom for me because it's easy to understand that we move not like a machine, and we move like organic beings, like as we are, and it's very, very beautiful to see that happening when we look to a body, and we are not looking just to the muscles or bones, or like segmented looking. And yes, and I'm very happy, and thank you, Nuno, for bringing us together to this. And I'm learning, and I want to learn more. I'm not explaining everything, so I'm just here happy to participate and to share some points of view that I'm having with this course. Yeah, thank you.
It's good that I said a short presentation.
Sorry, it's never short with me. With me, it's impossible to be short. No.
It's very good, very good.
Forget it.
So today we were going to speak about the rest, the next, well, the rest chapters of this first Tensegrity chapter of the course, which has to do with the load distribution and the Tensegrity body, and then the final chapter of this group of chapters is how to build a Tensegrity. I think all of us have already built it. We're not gonna, unless you have something to say about the construction of the Tensegrity. I think we're gonna focus on other issues on these first big Tensegrity chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you have anything that called your attention or that you thought about?
Really do a lot. So
sorry.
Oh, okay.
Is there anything that called your attention during these chapters that you want to talk about, Miguel or Teresa? Anything that you got in your mind and it would be good to discuss or to present?
Well, I had a lot of doubts and difficulty to understand some of the content and some of the context and some of the principles, properties that we are talking about in here and trying to apply. And I believe at this time it is more clear in my mind some of the concepts, and I'm more relaxed in that sense. And I think that is a very, very big challenge in applying this, because the relationship with the ball that we are going to approach in the future, it's even more demanding to understand. So trying to build the model, trying to handle and manipulate the model, and trying to understand some of the principles here, I think it's paramount to then apply it in the practice, but at the same time, not being able to experiment in our own body, it's an empty concept, and
So we are applying it to our own body. We can apply it. There's the first practice that they propose is for us to experiment with ourselves in the big ball.
Okay.
With some interface. And I know you've been trying it, and I've also started to try it.
I was trying to follow the modules, okay, because the first ones are more theoretical.
Yeah, more conceptual. But I agree with you that we can, and I think we should return to these conceptual models after we started exploring the practical ones. Yeah. And this is a suggestion, Teresa and others that may listen to these, to start exploring with a practical application in themselves or in others, if they are able to. So they get, like Miguel said, they get more clear about why these are the concepts that support that practice, because the practice looks very basic and very even silly. You just lie over the ball with some towels and some interfaces, and you just stay there, and things will happen. And it won't happen at once. It will take time. You need to implement.
And all that interfaces, we need them to distribute the tension. Is that?
Yes, to do several things. So that has to do with the pair dynamics that is included in this load distribution chapter. So we can go to the pair dynamics thing. You agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you understood, or anyone wants to talk of what is understood by pair dynamics and how pair dynamics is included here?
Pair dynamics is the same dynamic that the several tissues that have different characteristics, right? And they behave the same dynamically, right? Pairing.
Yes.
When attention is applied, or
a force, a load is applied.
Force, a load. Yes. Tension is a load.
So what pair dynamics explains, because this pair dynamics was supposedly was actually created to study cracks in nature, like earthquakes or cracks in materials, and how does the whole material behave with these different parts in between that have different dynamic behaviors, because if there's a crack, there will be a different dynamic behavior in the 2 layers or 3 layers or X layers created by the cracks. And how can the whole thing behave in one certain, or how can we study that all different layers with different characteristics and different apparently different dynamic behaviors, studied it with one dynamic behavior, having one dynamic behavior. Is that what you understood also?
Yes, and these switches to the analysis to volumes and surfaces, not just
Yes.
lines. So we have the deepness and we have, yeah.
The depth, yes.
The
That is
expansion.
I think that is very important what you're saying, because it also relates. I think we'll have to come back to paradynamics when we start seeing the way they do the Leonid and Mariana do the reading of the body, not in lines, but in surfaces and volumes.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
this paradynamic comes to is in parallel with the reading they do, of course. Yeah, everything is related, of course. The paradynamic and the reading in volumes and surfaces, and not in lines.
Exactly.
Because we are dealing with volumes and surfaces, not with sequential lines or isolated pieces of parts. Miguel?
Yeah, I think that's this is one of the main concepts, and because it is very mathematically approached, it's demanding in that sense, but so the self-experience may have the spaces, the concepts that we miss, because all these concepts need to be included in one thought, one sense thing. Okay, so I understand exactly very well the dynamic concept, the concern about dynamic behavior, of all the tissues that are different densities and different volumes, and they all interact, and I understand well the reaction against loads, external or internal, and that's a main thing also. And how does the different tissues and different, well, I don't want to say layers, because someone may.
You don't want to say layers because there are really no layers in the body. Everything is a mesh.
Different configurations and different interact in some way of not being continuous, but continuing themselves and complementing themselves. So that's one of the things I mainly understand in paradynamics. And you were saying about that, the layering image, that in some depth there is some kind of adjustment, and another depth in relation to a load or a crack, there is another kind of adjustment. In some way, all of them just complement themselves to hold the integrity of the system.
Yes, well, the stability of the system.
Yeah. And they also explain why these paradynamics is important in biotensegrity, because it can be explained, because if it's about load distribution, it can be connected to the springs, as in the tensegrity model. And here we can see not a linear spring, one spring, but a combination of different springs with different orientations and different springs.
The connection is always with the spring behavior, right?
Yes, but this would be not with a continuous spring, but with a discontinuous combination of springs that gives you one big behavior, dynamic behavior. It's not the adding up of all them, it's the combination of them all.
It's a modular organization. So one spring complements itself with another spring and another spring, So by modules, they complement themselves. They are not linked continuously, linearly, and they are not separate.
Yes. I can imagine when we see a load, we see the load, we see the deformation, but there are a wave of inside of the body from the different tissues and the soft matter, right? And this wave is vibrating in several ways, not in its depth, right? The deformation doesn't finish there, and the continuity of that deformation or that path that we are building, the continuity is from the how do you say that, cells that reconstruct the tissues, how they call that, fibroblasts.
The fibroblasts, right? Yeah.
So the extension of the deformation inside of the bodies, we can predict it, or no, or
No.
it's just like
You cannot predict. It's unpredictable. Soft matter is unpredictable.
okay.
Yeah. What
I missed that class yet, huh? I didn't saw
the cracks in the system, the supposed cracks in the system, so the weaknesses in the system, when you apply the load with a certain load that has to be within the 2%, blah, blah, blah. But when you apply the load to the system, you create a big uniform deformation, big uniform action of that load, as you said, that spreads in several directions. So in surfaces and in depths, so in volumes. Mm-hmm. And as he says, the sleeping, the lazy fibroblasts are waking up, are woken up in the zone, in the areas, in the location of the weaknesses of the system. So
the
that's
failures,
the cracks. Sorry.
That hidden failures that
hidden failures.
Okay.
So the hidden failures are stimulated by the overall uniform loads, and there the fibroblasts can start creating or reorganizing, reshaping, reorganizing.
Restoring the
system. Yes, there. Yes. So that's why then they talk about the first best constraint, second best constraint.
Okay.
Which is a little bit different than just what we said, but we know that there's a weakness, a central weakness in the first best constraint, which is around the transversus abdominis, as they presented. And those weaknesses would represent the cracks in the meta system, where the pandemic comes from, and by creating an organization, a uniform deformation on a horizon, as they say, it wakes up the fibroblasts to
reconstruct or to
reconstruct the failures.
Okay.
This is my reading. I don't know. You agree?
I believe that is a term that is very used. That is distribution. Okay, so one of the main things is to think about the distribution. So that's why the semi-inflated balls. That's why the interfaces, because we don't want to stress just one area. You just want to, in a certain frequency or
level, it's a low
this load for the most you can of the system. And the analogy of the spider web was just marvelous for me. So imagine a dormant spider on the edge of the spider web. So if we distribute the load on a certain exact frequency, we are inviting the dormant spider to do the job. And so she will reconstruct or do the fibroblast work. That is a cellular level component of your body that just is very unspecific and can just build whatever soft matter, not soft matter, como é que se diz tecido conjuntivo?
Connective tissue.
Connective tissue.
So whatever connective tissue we need. So it's not specific, the crack, it's not specific, the failure of the system. So we just have to
Yes, it's true.
address the system the proper way, so it just auto heals himself.
Self heals.
I thought about that, exactly what you did, Miguel, because when we okay, it's different because it's our client when they do Pilates with us that needs to feel, and okay, it's not us that are going to touch, or we are not the promoters, right? So the awareness needs to be on the other side, but what do we want? We want to help to reconstruct the distribution system of tension, right, on our clients. And the way we need to do that, it's finding how do you say, alemão e inglês, a maior,
the biggest, the widest,
the biggest interface. So the more the client finds support, right, and spreads and find the support around his body, the best he will activate that fibroblasts, right? When they are on the reformer, they need to find a way to move without taking off the support of the reformer. I feel that, and tell me.
Yes. I totally agree with you. The question that Miguel brought of the distribution instead of the localizing, it's paramount. It's very important for these work to it. I think this is the basis of this work, because you don't go to specific
Part or
failures.
failures.
You don't go to a specific failure. You don't address a specific failure. You don't need to. You can forget, as Mariana and Leonid said, you can forget about the muscles. You can forget about about the body. You just need to find surfaces and volumes and impact the correct load with the correct action with time, and the system. You know that the system will heal, self-heal.
Yeah.
So the fibroblasts will do the work, and you can find as you can be more sure that you're addressing all the failures, the wider the surface of impact, let's say, of the external load, of the imposed load is.
I think too, but sometimes we need to. We don't deal with all of the failures that our clients can have just on one position and with one apparatus. You know what I'm
in
saying?
Pilates.
In Pilates, yes. So what is our main goal? You know, like we need to understand in what positions we can wrap all the failures that body can have. Because if you are just like laying down on the reformer, do the footwork and you are not wrapping or dealing with all the hidden failures that body can have, right?
I understand. Miguel, you were going to say something?
Sorry, Miguel, yes.
No, just regarding what Teresa is saying.
Yes, I think the one of the main things here is, firstly, don't be very specific. So that's the concern about them to, in a safe way, approach this and feed the first best constraint. So the main core, as we are used to call it, because it's safe and not so nociceptive, and it's okay. And it's, if you don't feed the system in on its first best constraint, probably I won't say, and probably they won't as well, say it's useless to feed the rest or be very specific in some approach of some injury, specific injury. But when we are relating this in the practice terms, in the apparatus things and in the Pilates things, well, we need to be very secure and very in our approach to, well, there must be a mainstream of language that refers to the basic dynamic of the body.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have some safe nets. So the reformer sequence is a safe net because
yes,
it's always that, and it's more shaped and more controlled. But I think the approach of the apparatus, this and that apparatus, will come in the next phase, because it will.
I agree with that.
Can I just say something there? We are trying to apply this technique, or the base of this technique, into with this model, and the model is, we have a first best constraint, second best constraint, third. This is a model of this function. Okay, this is not. This is how they think it works, and it may be applied in some circumstances, but it's a model, it's a map. But I think there are other maps that we need to use together with this one when we work in Pilates specifically, in order for us to understand the method and how it works, and how these specific map can be applied in what we do. But this would be to go away a little bit from the goal of our conversation, which is not bad, and we can go away whatever we want, but because it's for us, basically.
It's a temptation always.
Yes. So there are other maps that we can use, that we need to use, in my perception, and we can talk about that in another talk if we feel like it's important.
So, not too far from the main theme, the paradynamic concept. There is there are some concepts they give us, the horizon and the family, that are easy in some way to understand and complex in the other way to see it. I see it's like the horizon is the system, okay, and the family are the different individuals of the family, okay, and they must be all concerned about the interaction between each other regarding the safety or the maintenance of the safety of the stability of the system or its horizon. Am I making any sense? Makes it's clear for you guys?
No.
No.
I didn't understand what
See it. How do you see the definition of horizon and family?
I see the definition of horizon and family in paradynamics not as really necessary to apply the method.
Okay.
Let's say, for me, Teresa was saying that we need to get as a wide surface as possible, so that we can encompass all the failures or the most failures in the system.
Mm-hmm.
And if we have a wide surface of impact of the external force, or the force that we apply, the load, we will group more we will group more elements, so we make a bigger family. And the family can have, as Mariana says in the video, tall guys, short guys, dark guys, white guys, yellow guys, blue guys, big hair, women, men, children, everything in the same family, but it is one family. And the volume that we can impact with the load that we applied, in that sense, for me would be the horizon that we create. So we create the horizon by the length of our, it's not length, but
the quantity or
the quantity or the volume, by the volume that we create, the limits of the volume that we create. For me, that would be the horizon.
Length of the line.
And because it's not really predictable,
yes,
I think we need to understand, as they say in the course, that if you apply with in one point hard material, if you have a very hard interface like a wooden stick with the same load applied in the same surface, and you have the same surface and the same load applied with a foam, the same thing but with a foam or with a wood thing, the wood has they don't say that, but with our conversation I would say the wood creates a smaller family, a less further horizon, so a smaller horizon, smaller volume, and the foam, being softer, creates a wider volume, so a wider horizon and a bigger family, because there are more tissues and more elements being included in the same contact. You agree?
Yes.
So horizon and family, it's just for us to understand these, and I can live without them. When in applying the technique, I would say, as I apply the technique, if I want to explain, I need to know why am I gathering everything in one place, and the wider the frontier that I create with the action of that load, with the imposing of that load, they have a name. They have been defined: horizon and family, or family and horizon. And it helps me to.
And you have that load, right? And there's a level that the tissues can connect more, so they can feel this consequence because it's a little percentage, right, of the loading. It's with it's like I can see the image.
Deformation, that's what you mean, huh?
Deformation.
The percentage, the stress, is measured in the percentage of the original length.
Okay, so
okay.
It's that, yes. So you are applying the load, and in one session, it's me like thinking, okay? In one session, you can find more families, or you can extend the horizon, right? And on
Yes.
other session, you can go furthermore. So you are going to improve your horizon dynamically. I'm not getting there. So you want to spread the deformation.
Mm-hmm.
So you can connect the whole system. We want to restore the whole system due to the tension.
You
body.
cannot restore the whole system with just one type of impacting.
Of course.
Like if you're lying on your stomach with the ribs and the pubic bone connecting, touching the edges of the donut created by the ball, by the interface.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the points in your body, that the limit points that touch. In order to increase, to include all the system, which means all the body, you would need to create a wider surface. It's a thinking, it's not a certainty, that by doing it with the same surface, doing it 1, twice, 10 times, 10 hours, you will restore the whole system.
No. Okay.
Do you think, Miguel?
That's a trick question.
What happens with the fibroblast, with that failures, that you solve that, some of that hidden failures, and when you come again with the same load, with the same interface, that failures doesn't exist anymore, right?
Sorry, I would say something that I heard, I don't know where. You will need, this is a lifelong process. Your body, you start dying the minute you were born. Okay, so you start deteriorating the minute you were born. You need to keep on giving inputs into your body in order to restore hidden failures that will show up. You will never be perfect.
Of course.
So
yes.
you restore in 1 minute, but then you have a lot of work on your tablet sitting for 15 hours. There will maybe happen a little hidden failure again around the system. So I believe this is a work for life. It's like, why do you exercise?
Yes, it's true. Yes, I understand.
Why do you work your body and keep moving? Because the body needs movement. And if we want to, the body needs movement. So this is a lifelong process.
You always need
never
the stimulus.
restore. Sorry?
You always will need the stimulus to restore and to.
Because the body is always always moving. There is always motion. There is always reconfiguring. There is always adaptation. It goes always to the less energy possible. It's always trying to save energy. It's always trying to adapt, crooked or not crooked, or it will always adapt. And there are consequences in this adaptation. And the consequences can be read as hidden failures. I think so. So you need to keep on addressing the possible hidden failures. That's what we do with our clients, because they keep coming to Pilates.
Leonid and Mariana, they keep their clients, the kids?
The kids.
Always.
No, but those kids are extreme.
Of course.
It's an extreme situation. So yes, it's for life.
Okay.
Their goal is not for them to not being able to sit. Now they're able to sit, we stop the treatment. No, okay. It's for life. There's always room for improvement in yourself.
Yes.
In everyone's self.
Yeah, I think, well, at this moment, we must all reconsider, accept that we are in our modern life always being aggressive to ourselves. So trauma is always happening. So at this point, the kind of approach gives me a sense of, okay, I can give a better strategy, best strategy possible to self-heal and probably to balance with the most aggression I can add in the rest of my life, because I'm sitting on the ground, I was sitting on the couch. I know this is bad for me, but it will happen. You were asking if this was for life. This was an approach that heals everything. Well, I believe this must be, that's one of my mystic questions. This must be mimicking some self-healing process of life, because we are trying to activate something that is in us.
Yes.
So this self-healing is here. Okay, can we boost it? Can we put it to work? It's
But
like
you are changing since you are born. So the self-healing mechanism, the way to push the button for the self-healing mechanism to restart or to start helping you is always changing. It's always a different button. There's always a different pressure.
the reset and the restart thing is it's marketing, okay? Because nothing is going to reset. So I'm 44, I will be 44 from here on, and 45 to next year. So
And like, can I just say something?
Hmm.
We see, I think we are, because I also see that it's in us. We see the healing, when we hear healing or self-healing process,
Mhm.
as we see in a wound. There's a beginning, the wound is open, we treat it, and it's healed. So that it's a process with the beginning and an end. And this
It's
is
not that.
self-healing and self-improving. It's self-regulation.
Mhm.
It's
It's a
never
therapy, it's maintenance,
it's maintenance, it's life. Life is changing. It's always changing. It's never as it is. You are this minute and next minute, you need something different. You can attune yourself to start seeing, what do I need? How do I care of myself? How do I take care of myself? Cold showers, diet, running, wake up early, don't drink, don't eat this, don't eat that, do the ball, do Pilates, do whatever you want. But you know what you need. Do vaccinate yourself, don't vaccinate yourself. Eat pills, don't eat pills. Life, if you're attuned to life, you can better recognize what you need. But this is a lifelong process for me. And we deal with persons, and we are in a market that promotes quick everything.
true.
Quick everything, quick gratification. And it's impossible to give quick gratification. We can give some in our classes with the way we work. People are happy when they get out in the first lesson. They are happy. They feel lighter. Are they healed? Is their self-healing mechanism attuned and now going? No.
It's not a treatment, right?
It's not a treatment. This is not a treatment. This is a lifelong process for me.
And the long-term approach, well, this is a very paradigmatic one, because we are used to the quick fix and the quick treatment, and let me go into do a quick reformer 20 minutes, I will be fine to the rest of the we are used to it and we are listening to it. And this approach of the 1 year lifespan of the collagen renovation, it's, well, it supports in some way this approach of the long-term doing and the accumulation of the hours, using the ball and using the interfaces. Well, I believe this, okay, this is not a treatment, this is not a cure for everything, but it's a tuning, okay, a tuning up to be more in a ready state, okay. It's more, and that in some way relates to the beginning of the off-record conversation, because we are really giving to the system the ability to self-stabilize better and be more in a ready state and more available and more, that's my
yes,
my
and we want that the tissue stay more tuned right? All the tissues that we are wrapped in.
Yeah.
So we are trying to find always
We are not wrapped in. We are those tissues.
those tissues. Yes.
No. But that's
Yes,
the word
it's
we
a
use.
segmented
We are
thinking.
not wrapped in tissues. You're not something inside your tissues.
No,
You are your tissues.
True, it's true.
That's a bit
And we
different.
want to find that tune, right, on the tissues to be
And
more.
one of the things I find it very amusing and challenging as in that same way, it's the looking at the volumes and the shapes instead of rationally think about what there is, what is it working at this moment? Is it this muscle? The problem is in that tendon, that ligament, that knee, that my knee, that knee. And when we talk about the volumes, and I'm going to share it to you guys, I have accumulated at the moment fairly 8 hours of bouncing and recoiling on the ball. And when I end my experience, most of the times I have that sense of different volumetric reshaping.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there are, I feel some tingling and on my back mostly, some tension, some building up some tension and tingling.
After the session or during?
Even during it. Okay, and that sometimes most of the times I feel more heated up. Okay, it's well, it's mostly a paradox because I'm almost quiet there. Okay, just and I'm feeling myself very heated up. No, so that's that. So, but the volumetric issue is really funny. It's funny.
I can give you my experience. I've started doing it the last 5 days, every day, 15 minutes. It's not an hour like you, but it's 15 minutes or 20 minutes, which for me it's enough. And with some different interfaces. I've used pillows, blankets. I don't have the foams yet. And what I've noticed is what the most present thing for me, because I'm also touching the ball with my arms and my hands, is the inflation of the ball, is the auxiliary behavior of the ball, together with my breathing. So when I breathe in, when I expand, the ball expands under me. When I breathe out, the ball contracts. So I'm contracting and expanding with the ball. That's the first thing, and that it's the most striking thing when I'm doing it. Then there is sometimes some almost pain on my lower back, on my L5, S1. But it's a pain as if it is tearing it apart. But it can be, the first time I was terrified. The first second I was like, what is this? And then I said, okay, there's nothing happened there, so I'm gonna let it be. And it went away. But each time I start, there is less of that thing there, but there is always some I don't know, some strange feeling there, like it's almost nervous, a nervous thing happening there.
And that changes when you think, let it be.
Yes, it changes in my mind because it's okay, and it went away. And when when I start to stand, when I think about standing, I think, that thing it's going to start hurting me, I'm sure, because it was very fragile there. And I stand and there's nothing happening. So I don't feel anything. It's perfect. So those are my main.
That's funny because locally, that's that executive behavior, because it really is the game of compression and decompression, expanding, but I would say the more exacerbated or more high feelings are non-local. I feel it also in my back, okay, around column, spine. It's funny because most of the feelings are non-local to the abdominal zone.
Yes. I don't feel anything in my abdominal zone. I'm
I did
perfect
not
there.
try yet, but
Also, the pulse that Marianne was describing, well, that's felt because the water.
Yeah.
I found it curious because on the one, I don't know, one of the Q&As on one of the sessions that Mariana was orienting, Susan shared that she felt it was very intense. At that moment, I just, how can this be intense? Just lying on the ball. Then when I tried it myself, no, I see. It is intense. Okay,
Yeah.
it is intense. It can build up. The feeling build up.
Yeah.
intense in what sense? In the deep of your body? Intense on
Intense. It's not concentrated. It's global. It's distributed.
Mm-hmm.
It is intense.
Like a wave of intensity.
Yeah, it is a normal body thing, not being hard, but it is present. It is a global thing because we are trying to connect as a system, and that image of the robot is very nice because if you really connect with the ball, it is intense because it's from toes to hair. It just
Yes, okay, it's wild. Yeah.
And I feel it really is a little addictive.
A little what? A little addictive. Yes.
Unit said that because after 15 hours, you're gonna stay everywhere and you want to be with your ball because, well,
it feels good.
Now I'm always carrying my little ball everywhere. I'm always as they did because they said they are doing it, and I started to do it. I always have my little ball with me, or in my studio upstairs, or here down, and I always put it on my back, or I sit on it, or I put it on my upper back. I'm always.
You need to be in count of that hours. There, you are leading hours there.
Yes, but it's a different thing. I think it's a different thing.
Yeah, because it's going to follow on that thing of it's the dynamic behavior. It's the behavior. It's the little wavy in a very small scale readiness or suppleness of the behavior that we were talking on the beginning, because it is that non-static thing that maintains alive. It's the ready state that allows to build up to the rest of the motion.
All the process that leads to something, or a form, or. That's
why the concern about the 2-3% of pressure, the big interface. That's a very funny thing.
That's something that I would like to talk about a little, and I think it came from the previous lesson, which is the stress strain curve.
Yes.
I think it's important to do some calculations. Okay, to do some calculations to know what exactly means 2%, 4% in stress terms. 2% means 2% of the length of the original length of the steady state. I don't know if this is the name of the rest state of the of one tissue.
Yeah.
So 2% of increase, it's like nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, I think the reference is the length of the tendon. That's the adaptation of the graph.
Yeah, but you can transfer it to other tissues. So it's a percentage of length.
Yeah. So
of deformation.
It should be very, very light. It's a very soft touch.
Light, very, very light. And I would like to know and to see, to experiment what is a 2% deformation in one tissue. What to see and to touch, to know exactly what I'm doing. So, because I think it can be important to have these reference instead of just having a sense of 2%.
I don't want to upset anyone, including you, Nuno, but if you're trying to have a 2% feeling and you are touching like this, so the area of contact is very small, you should be.
I know. But this is just to exemplify. Yeah, what is 2%? What is
2%? Yes.
Yeah, you see.
That's a good question.
And 6%, which is very, very few, it's almost nothing. Already you have microfailures creating. You're already creating microfailures. 6%. Like, and we stretch.
It can be created.
We stretch and we go and you go and go. How much should we go in order to enhance the fibroblasts and to enhance microfailure?
So that's the thing, because when we were talking about the interaction with the ball and we were talking about this, I used the ready state thing. The 2% is prior to motion. One of the things Leonid was just using a lot is motion is a bonus, is a plus. Flexion is a bonus. So this is like a prerequisite to move. Okay, in order for you to move without damaging yourself or hurting yourself, you need to be in that
super stabilization. And
yeah, that's the thing, because that's the approach to obtain on this small range of length and load and speed and everything, the pre-stabilization for post movement. I think that's the 2% that we're talking about. It's this. Exclude the motion, exclude the movement, exclude the macro scale. So let's talk about the treatment. So the being there. So I think that's the thing, because it can relate to the society of, okay, stand down, just stay there for a minute. So
give time to your body to find the
investment of time. I think time, load, speed, whatever the I don't know,
variables are.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. It's the pre-motion.
I have another question, just a very short one. It's just a question that can stay there. Okay. I've used the resting on the ball after training. So I trained kettlebell and Pilates. I did my session, 1 hour, pom, 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 pom. And then I did the ball. It felt very good, really, really good to stay there and rest and stay for 20 minutes. Is there an implication to do it before training, after training, without it? I don't know. It's just a question for us because they apply it to kids who don't train. So to people who don't train, we are applying it to people who train, who exert their body like we do, who go a little bit over normal limits. What's the The implication in terms of fibroblast activity,
Okay.
for instance.
I think, well, if we are not getting away so much of the theme, if you are talking about training and you want to include some kind of metabolic, okay,
Exercise.
for the training, well, you could gain something on that bouncing, and because you are doing a recovery. So if you metabolically load past some limits, well, you will need to recover yourself or with help. So that's the same thing as the cold showers or the ice packs. So well, you can do it before training, after training, regardless of your training or not.
Yeah, but then if you do after training, you're not addressing your hidden failures, or are you? You're just recovering the little damages that you did, which are hidden failures also.
In using this is a definition, this concept, okay, movement is a plus. So if movement is a plus, my self-stabilization is going to be in a very big implication in how do I move. So
I think the doing it
movement,
before,
loading the body in, it's always a risk of, am I stable enough or resilient enough to
you are challenging your stability with the train, right? You are challenging
a lot. And
a lot.
I think
So
the mixed up and the confusion can be like this. The training sense at the end, is it the body awareness or it's the
treatment of
exertion,
total exertion and exhaustion. Yeah, that's what you mean?
I know you are sensitive and I know you, but that's a question, because what is excess? What is not
What
excess?
are you going to say, Teresa? Were you going
no,
to
because you have always hidden failures, and we want to potentiate or stimulate our stabilization system, right? By doing that exercises that I don't know yet what are the exercises, but if you improve that stabilization, maybe you are going to have less failures before after the training or during the training, or like
when you do one session of the ball, you're not fixing your failures. It has to be accumulated.
Yeah,
you need to accumulate hours, a lot of hours, in order for the effect to stay. At least that's their experience with the CP kids, cerebral palsy kids. I don't know if it's the same with a person without those motor problems.
That's a good question.
Because maybe the activity of our fibroblasts and the nature of our failures, it's like minimum. So you need one session or 2 sessions or 10 sessions, 2 hours.
Yes, to know. Yeah.
What is the extent of the thing in us compared to
what happens before that, right? For one session with the ball.
Okay, I think it was a very good discussion.
Thank you.
Yes. We will meet in a month. Do you think 1 month distance is too far? Shall we do it 15 days or?
I think 1 month. Yes, to integrate into, yes.
To practice, because now we are all going to practice with the ball.
Yes,
right? Yes. Okay. So next time we'll do the next chapter, which I don't know exactly what it is, after tensegrity.
Yes, it's very complicated, the next chapter. It
is the
tensegrity body.
The what?
Tensegrity body.
The tensegrity body. No, the tensegrity.
Torsion, that actions that implies torsion and buckling.
Ah, yeah.
Yes, and
That's
soft
the application.
matter.
Torsion and buckling. Yes, we go to that those chapters.
Oh, okay. New mass in
Finish
hydrodynamics.
tensegrity. Okay.
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 Good. Very good. Enjoy.
Nice to
Stay
see you.
well. Thank you very much for being here.
Bye bye.
See you.
Stop recording.